It's still happy hour with John Gaskins, so go ahead, have another.
Yeah, buddy, the college football preview show for Sioux Falls Live and Happy Hour with John Gaskins. Our D2 version rolls on with the head coach of the Augustana football team, Jerry Olszewski. This is his 14th season. These teams have played 12 of the previous 13. We had that whole COVID season in which D2 did not play at all in 2020. But in 12 seasons, OJ's teams have had 10 winning records, including each of the last 7 seasons. They've won at least 7 games in 9 of the last 10 campaigns, 9 wins or more in 4 of the last 6, and in the last 3 seasons, each of them, back to back to back, they finished ranked in the D2 top 25. First time in school history that's been done, and almost 3 straight seasons of being in the D2 playoffs. They're as close as you can get without getting in last year at 9-2. And ranked as high as number 5 in the country, and they are picked to finish number 3 in the preseason coaches poll in the loaded 15-team Northern Sun Conference. So it's great to have OJ here. We rattled off all of those numbers, accomplishments when we visited you in May over at Kirkby Over Stadium. We're so busy right before the season starts, we had to Zoom from 5 minutes away, but that's okay. And you're knee deep in it. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Dan Jackson last week, and I'm going to ask Coach Glow down the street at USF later in this show. Do you wish today was game day because you're a week from your first game kicking off, or are you glad you have a week left?
No, I'm glad we have a week left. Yeah, there's just so much that goes into a fall camp, especially with some young players that are stepping into new roles. And when I say young, it might be inexperienced, but have been with us. But we lost a lot of our defense in this graduating class, a lot of production in that class. I could say, honestly, that we'd be okay with starting right now offensively, but we still need a couple of days here defensively to get ourselves onto the where we need to be to chase a title. And so I'm happy with that. And then clean up some special team stuff. And there's still a couple roster spots that right now we're finite in that and who's going to rise to the top. And so I'm glad, half a week would be great, but we're super.
Okay. Well, that's good. Super. That's a John Stiegelmeier term. He'd use that all the time. And then he'd say it every time. And then he would say it's a choice. I was like, you're always super. He's like, yes, it's a choice.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're in your office, you got those glasses on, you got the shades drawn down from the sun. No, yeah. And I know you love it. But give us an example today of kind of a monkey wrench got thrown into the system. How does a little rain, a little lightning throw an operation like a college football program that's so regimented down to the minutes, and how do you react to that?
Right. Well, it is regimented, and literally every hour in the day is accounted for, and you got to be efficient. So we had a 9:00 practice this morning, and we're about halfway through it, and our trainers, and BG's so great. Also, we had a strike within the mile radius that is, for us to be safe. So we went inside and waited it out, and then another strike, and you wait it out, and you can take two sides to that of what it is. We played a game at St. Cloud, a night game at St. Cloud 7-8 years ago, whatever it was. We had 3 lightning delays. We didn't finish the game until after midnight. And so the experience and learning, yes, a wet ball practice, I'm glad we had one. We really haven't had one during fall camp. We haven't had a windy practice yet. It's been kind of country club, but when you go through a day like that, there's so much prep, and I just prepared them in the locker room. Guys, this is what's going to happen. I've lived it already. Here's how it's going to be. So I'm going to tell you in 15 minutes what the next report is. And then within a half an hour, you're going to know exactly where we stand. And I want to see their mental mindset. We talked about wet ball stuff. We talked about keeping yourself ready, stretching on your own, and laid out the plan. If this were game day, the same thing would happen. We'd go to the locker room. You got to sit in. You got to stay focused. We got to talk about things that are good or bad in that scenario. and then you got to hit it when we walk out, and no pause. And that's what ended up happening. It was a 45-minute delay. Got on the field, we did a little stretch inside, ran our lines, and went right to scout team, and it was perfect. I was so proud of our kids, our coaches and kids. Like we literally, our guys were ready to go, finished with a great 30 minutes, and now we're back on track, and just had to push lunch back a little bit. Our cafeteria was great about it, so all systems forward. But they're all learning experiences that could very likely happen in St. Joe, Missouri.
Well, to use a cliche, it feels like Augustana football is a well-oiled machine. It should be when you're a head coach in his 14th season at the same spot. 91-47 overall. You've taken over the wins lead from Jim Heinitz, who the field is named after. And, back to today, okay, so it kind of pushes a lot of things back. But you've honored your time commitment, your window with me. So I really appreciate that. But you'd right now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, be in a film session with the teams, but you have, coordinators who can run the show. And, on the defensive side of the ball, they're a pair of new coordinators.
Yeah.
So, and before we get into that, just, how confident do you feel about, your coordinators taking over matters like this?
Yeah, very, or I wouldn't have made that decision.
Yeah.
Kelly Skolton's been with me. He's my assistant head coach. He's our defensive line coach. He's been a special teams coordinator for me. So Kelly and I have over 23 years together at two different institutions. And Chase King, who has also been our linebackers coach, special teams coordinator over the past as well. And Chase has been with me over 17 years. So both have been through the multiple coordinators that have been here all the way back from Jake Dickert. So when you put that together, we've been a part of this process the whole time. Are there nuances? Yeah, we're going to pick a little bit from each of those different scheme styles that we had. But at the end of the day, it's the stuff that I used to run, and then Jake ran, then Brian Bergstrom ran, then Jordan Malone ran, then Mark Sipple we put some tweaks in with pressure. So the basis of it, the kids already know. Terminology very similar, but different in some ways. So we kind of morphed into the last 13, 14 years to come up with best plan, and now we got to put the best athletes and get it done. So my comfort level couldn't be higher. Is there learning curves? Yeah. Is there growing pains? Yes. But they're more experience driven than they are scheme driven. It's just, they need reps. We lost a lot of production from last year, so these guys are playing for their first time, and the ball's moving fast against an offense that's pretty explosive. So it's great prep, and I can't wait till we get to do it for real.
I may have asked you this in May. Who will call the defense on Saturday?
Coach King will call it. King will call it. Because I think you have to have one voice, and I talked to Coach Bergstrom and Coach Rogers about that when they did it. I think you need one voice, but both will put the plan together and at times lean back and forth as far as what is good and what isn't of going on. So they develop the plan together, and once they'll decide what call is best in collaborating. But Coach King will be the one that makes the call as we go forward.
How close to the scheme that you enjoyed under Mark Sipple, who's moved on to Drake, will this defense be? You have a lot of players who weren't starters last year, but have been in the system. So is it the same scheme?
Yeah, in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. Kind of what I said before. We're bringing back some of the things that were prior to Mark's arrival here, and we're keeping some of the things that we did when Mark was here. So no different than offensively when I've had to change coordinators on offense over the years. Keep the good stuff. What do you do? I can't pigeonhole guys. I mean, everybody has their DNA. I've been doing this long enough that I've been through 4 kinds of different offenses, if you want to say that, or nuances in an offense. I've been through 4 different defenses now in my time here.
Yeah.
So it's really morphing that into what's our best stuff? What's our best third down stuff? What talent level do we have? How can we emphasize that by scheme to give our kids the best chance to be successful?
Okay. And defensively, which players have really caught your eye throughout this camp that
Mm-hmm.
Augustana fans can get ready to see a lot of on Saturdays?
Yeah, I think it starts any time that you have that probably in your captains. When you look at our bunch, we got for the first time we got two D linemen as defensive captains. So the bookend defensive ends for us doing that, and anytime you get into that scenario and you start saying, okay, who's the leaders? It's going to go through them, but we got leaders at every level. And when you start looking at who's whom, the guys who've really caught my eye, other than obviously Tyler Byrne and Christian Conley's been dinged up a little bit with a hamstring, so he's been out. Connor Akey at D tackle and Josh Lee O'Brien at D tackle have both played really well this fall camp. And when they play well, we're in a good place. Linebacker wise, Cameron Majeski from Hot Springs is having a great camp. He had a great spring. He's going to be a great football player. That kid just gets the game, and he's a great athlete. Ashton Toll has been great. Played some for us last year at linebacker. He's had a great fall camp as well. Nick Salm is the other linebacker I think is really shining and playing well. Steele Showmaker was redshirted for us last year, a kid out of Kansas. Long, he'll be playing that Sam, little nuance difference, a longer kid that can play the box a little bit better. We got run on too much last year. We gave up too many damn yards on the run, so we got to get a bigger body that can take care of business. And Steele's been filling that up, and a transfer in Caden Lunsford has been really good too. So on the back half, Alec Belange's been really good at safety, as has Wyatt Hammersma. And at the corner, Jermaine Hampton is a proven player for us. The one that really has caught my eye is Trey Malone, the other corner. He was in a subsequent role last year where he played 15 snaps a game, maybe 20. Well, he got pushed into a starting role now, and he's responding really well so far. Changed his body, stopped playing baseball here at Augie, and just, he's long, he's strong, and those two I feel really good about. The other guys got to grow up. We got some young ones that, some freshmen actually, that are playing pretty well, and they're pushing the ramp and seeing what's going to happen. Offensively, we got a lot of guys back. We had 9 starters back. Gunner's looking phenomenal. The guy that caught my eye the most is Caden Van Horsen at offensive tackle, Harrisburg product. He completely changed his body. And he's starting for us at right tackle. He's a good football player. Braylon Blunt, everybody knows, solid as all get out. And then our receiving core is our receiving core. It's the same names. DJ James, when you go in and what DJ has done, DJ Page, what he has done as a freshman is now going to get highlighted. Neil May, we got a transfer this year from William and Mary, and Isaiah Lamond has had a great camp. Along with Cody Oswald. So we'll see where it all ends up and gets going. Clayton Sattler's back at tight end. Will Lynch at tight end as well. So I'm confident offensively we need to be a well-oiled machine and make teams defend the whole field on us.
Well, I can't remember the hyperbole you just used about Gunnar. Phenomenal. It might have been terrific, whatever. What specific things have gone into that depiction of what you have seen from him in August camp?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Did you say Gunnar?
Yes.
Yeah. He's as good as they come. I mean, and I am the heart. You know me. I just call it like it is. It's not like I'm blowing smoke at anybody, because I'll be as critical as myself, and I'll be critical of them. He can make every throw. He's one of the smartest players. Kyle Sadler was a really smart quarterback for us. Gunner's right there. Like, he knows defenses, what's going to happen, how they can navigate change. He's been really, really good. Plays at the speed of the game a little bit faster than maybe you watch it. Like, he knows. The thing with his injury last year, he really, that cuts deep. Second time he's been injured, and he was playing at an elite level, a Harlan Hill level in those first 5 games, and had to sit and watch. And I think that he appreciates football and enjoys it even more now because it was taken away from him. And he's just a joy to be around. He's not pressing on guys. He's building guys. And it's really a joy to watch as a head coach. It's like having another coach on the field. And I trust him with everything. And I told him, I said, here's the keys to the house, man. Make sure you lock up. Make sure my daughter's home by 10. But it's just really it's that kind of relationship, which is always special when your signal caller is that guy. And he's getting pushed by Rich, which is great. So he's preparing Rich in case something would happen. Rich is there for him. It's just been awesome. You got some depth in that room and some great characters and some great quarterbacks. So, but Gunner's biggest strength and growth has been in leadership.
Yeah.
And he's the alpha of this football team. He walks in a locker room, he walks in a restaurant, we walk in a hotel, you know who the leader is, and that's Gunnar Hensley.
Oh, man. Well, in the past, when you've had that, it's a team game. You got to be solid across the board on both sides of the ball. But when you have that, what you just described in a quarterback, jog back to your memories of those seasons. What does that usually mean? If not in sheer results, just what that looks like and what can be expected.
Yeah,
How much easier it makes your job, all that.
It's a confidence, that flows both ways. When the head coach can have a relationship like that with the guy and trust him with everything, there's not a moment where it's just then what's the situation? It's not if, it's when and how. And that is a very comforting feeling. And sometimes you got to grow into that. It takes time. That's not something, I don't give my keys to everybody. It takes time to grow into that. He has my ultimate respect and I have his. And his relationship with Coach Loudenback is awesome. Like, the same thing, respect, but communication. They develop plans together, and that's the way it should be. It's the way it was when I was coordinating. I'm not going to put him in a position where he's not comfortable in. What do you like? Why do you like it? Then let's skin test it and go. He can make all the throws. Now, his biggest challenge is going to be, because he can make every throw, not every time you have to make that throw. When the great ones are like that, Aaron Rodgers is that way. Sometimes he'd put it somewhere where it's like, man, there's an easier throw on the over ball that you could have made. But when you're that good, you believe you can make them all. We just got to make sure that he does. But what happens on a team when that's the case, they see that confidence too.
Yeah.
They see the relationship. They see the confidence. Like, it doesn't. We had plenty of those games last year. We had 5 games that were 2-minute verdicts, that we walked out with on the good side of. So they've been war tested. He's just cool as the other side of the pillow and just, what's the situation? All right, let's go. We got to go 90 yards. We got a minute 28. We got one timeout. Let's go.
I mean, had 5 games and over 275 yards passing game, 13 touchdowns, no interceptions through 5 games. And then, as we remember, turning point of the season was he gets hurt before the University of Sioux Falls game, and Rich Lucero, down 19 points, takes the team on his back all the way to an amazing key to the city win. They continued the spark your run to a 9-0 start. And so that game, that day, was an example of, intestinal fortitude, what can happen when you do everything right. And then we all know how the season finished with a pair of losses to really good teams. And it's such a thin line that can get you in or out of the playoffs in D2 when you have to be doing this by region selection. And I know, knowing you use that as a motivation or a teaching point for this year's team. But in your own words, you know what you got to lift you out of difficult situations, starting with your quarterback. But what will be the things that will make the difference between how last year ended and how you want this year to end, or where you want it to go?
Well, it starts with, you control the controllables. We were in a great place. Then we were down 9 starters, during that time. We were a banged up lineup. Our best safety, Logan Leonard, had NFL teams looking at him, and against MSU in the second quarter, he blows his ACL. And Gunnar wasn't the only one that went down. Clayton Sattler went down. Braylon Blunt went down, came back. There were plenty of guys, but we had enough talent to win those games. We didn't play well enough in it. And in those scenarios, you got to look the man in the mirror. And that's what we did in the offseason. Like, you guys need to let this sting a little bit. Understand that. Do I think we should have got in? Yeah, we play in a really good league, and where you look at us statistically in the nation, we should have been in. We don't make those decisions. It's not up to us. That's a room of people that make that decision, and we weren't invited. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to go in the corner and say, oh, we should have, and kick a can? I said, I got no problem with it, boys. I'll tell you right now, I got no problem with it. And if nothing else, we should have a great offseason, and don't let someone else control our destiny.
Right.
But it starts game 1. That game 9, that game 10 was just as important as game 1. So don't look too far ahead of the windshield. Look through it, but sure as heck don't look through the rearview mirror, because that's not going to do a dang thing for us other than it gave us some confidence, understood that in the moment you need to be big, you need to be big, and then don't put pressure on yourself. Play a situation. What's the situation? We're down 10. Okay, great. We got 2 drives. And we need to stop, we need to score, we need to stop, we need to score. No problem. Both those. We played horribly against Mankato, and they had something to do with that. They played really well. I'm not going to ever discredit an opponent. Wayne, we gave him the game. We didn't play well enough to win, but certainly had multiple opportunities to do so. That's not disrespecting Wayne and their victory. They're a good football team too. So, but at the end of the day, you either are or you aren't. And whether you think you can or can't, you're probably right. So I got to give them to flip the script and get hungry. And this team is, they have expectations, and they want to be a game 12, game 13, 14 football team. They ain't going to get handed to anybody. You got to go earn that. It starts at Missouri Western.
Right. You open on the road with a team that you trailed by 10. That's a game like USF that you were able to pull out in week 1 last year. But then you have to go, and this is the earliest you've said, this is the earliest you've ever, thrown some opponents' work at your players in fall camp. And then the next week you go to Mankato, the NSIC 800. Duluth. You got 2 of those. Duluth is the other one. Yep. Those are the 2 teams that you're looking up at the preseason poll for whatever the preseason poll is worth. So, how does just having those, first of all, it's such an early game in week 1, but then that type of a game in week 2, does that affect your preparation in fall camp, or is it just the one at a time thing?
Yeah, it's absolutely one at a time. We got to start fast. Just like coming out of locker room after the lightning break. Okay. I can't be worried about Duluth right now. Duluth is not even on my radar right now. I know what they do, and they do it well. That's not even on our radar right now. We got to show up at Mo West, who's a really good football team that had a not great record last year. That's a good football team. They play physical brand of football. They are very, very fit. Might have been the most physical team we played all year, to be very honest with you. They had some injuries too. They went big on the transfer portal. I think they got 20-some, mid-20 type of kids in the transfer portal this year. So I don't know what we're going to see. We're prepared to be us and make sure we address it. We got to start fast. That all the things we talk about every day. Our conference will be our conference, and it's going to be a dogfight. And who knows what's going to be. But if you look at it on paper, we probably got the toughest schedule in our league this year. So what? If you're going to get to where you need to get to, you're going to see the Ferris States and the Grand Valleys of the world. That's no joke. So we're going to get war tested quick. Our litmus will be high, and we're going to find out real early where we're at. And then, if we answer that in game 1, we got a big enough challenge to drive for a long drive for a night game at Duluth, and that's going to be a gong show, man. It's going to be a fiery place, and they have high expectations too. So we're just going to take one game at a time. And I know that, guys who do interviews like, oh, it's, no, it's a reality. If we wouldn't have been 9-0 if we were looking past the next one. And that's the situation that this team is certainly in. And I'm excited for that trip. I'm really excited, John, to see us play, because there's so many new faces on all over that I think are going to be really good players, but they haven't done it yet. And until you've done it and done it consistently, you got to earn that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I know you're glad you still have a week before that first game kicks off, but it seems like you're ready. You're in regular season form already. And I always enjoy catching up with you, and best of luck. And again, thanks on a busy day, pushed back by weather, for still taking the time for this.
John, I appreciate what you do for our game and getting us out, man. We got good football players and good football teams, and I appreciate you always pushing it up and giving us the time, because there's a lot of kids on this team that are pretty darn good and some great coaches too. So what you do for the game in our area and for us personally, I appreciate you.
We have 2 excellent D2 teams in this town that worth going out and watching, and wonderful football stadiums each and every Saturday. It's a short drive for everybody that lives in the metro. That certainly worth your time. They have to wait 3 weeks from now to do it at Kirkby Over Stadium, but we're ready to see it rocking and rolling when you do. It's always a treat. So onward and upward, and we'll talk to you soon.
Be blessed. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Stay right there. Coach OJ, Jerry Olszewski from Augustana here on our college football preview show on Happy Hour.